I know I'm getting older because the 2018 Subaru Crosstrek is finally starting to make sense to me. Listen, if you need a small, pragmatic, cheap car with all-weather capability, and don't require WRX or WRX STI speed, it's probably a great buy. But for those of us who like the idea of the Crosstrek and would miss all that turbo power, I ask, why can't we get both? Clearly Subaru is onto something here with the Crosstrek. They sell something like 8,000 of them a month in the US, and even though it's basically a lifted Impreza, it's just SUV-ish enough to ride that wave that's killing small cars and sedans. Then you have the WRX and STI, which are iconic at this point, and doing well enough that they too seem to be weathering the sudden-ocalypse fine enough. After all, the performance variants of small cars, think the Ford Fiesta Street, Volkswagen GTI and others, are all selling quite well, and in some cases actually dominate sales over their regular versions. Lately, when people can be bothered to buy small, they buy fast. Yet Subaru left us high and dry with a WRX or STI that goes all in on practicality. We haven't had a hatchback and or wagon variant of that car in years. If you want it, you're stuck with the sedan version, which is inherently less practical than it could be. So here's what I'm thinking: Subaru should pony up and give us a fast version of the Crosstrek. Stiffen up the suspension a bit, give it the 268 horsepower engine out of the WRX, or, hell, the 305 horsepower motor from the WRX STI. Why not add some better brakes and performance bits, leave the jacked up ride height? Why the hell not? It's not like we're ever going to get the Subaru Leopard wagon in this country. This could be the compromise we're all after. A lifted WRX or WRX STI wagon hatch with a manual would basically check all the boxes. Plus, that extra ride height might actually prove an advantage in rallying. As the small car segment is ceded to small crossovers, part of me wonders why so many off-road racing cars remain hatchbacks or sedans. Let me be clear, I'm not advocating this car replace the WRX and WRX STI sedan. I'd hate to live in a world where that's no longer an option for enthusiasts. No, I think this Crosstrek WRX would make a great addition to the Subaru lineup, existing as its own beast and offering a family adventure car for people whose idea of adventure also involves flouting speed laws. Given the proliferation of both small crossovers and small performance cars at the moment, it seems poised to do well, and finally fill the void left behind by the death of the WRX hatchback. What am I missing here? Make it happen, Subaru. You're welcome for the great idea. Please give me $10 million, buy a set of monoblock 6-piston Brembo brakes and get a Fahrzeughalfte WRX STI included in the price. All jokes aside, that's what Subaru is suggesting with its revised flagship sports saloon, and we've been for an early drive in Japan. While the changes haven't been confirmed for the UK, the tweaks should be made available to Brit buyers before the end of the year. The car we drove used a Japan-specific 2.0-litre turbo, but it's expected that European models will retain the outgoing car's tried and tested 2.5-litre boxer engine. As one Subaru engineer said, it's the cheapest car on the planet with 6-PA Brembo brakes, offering just the kind of modification needed to inject some passion back into the brand's waning popularity. It should do just enough to excite the die-hard fans too, who look to Subaru for ultimate bang for their buck. With the Fahrzeughalfte 2018 WRX STI, Subaru is giving its customers what they've been crying out for, namely fire brakes and even sharper handling. During our brief sprint around the mountainous Ice Cycle Sports Center south of Tokyo, we were able to drive the current and revised models back to back, and the result was more startling than you might imagine. Gone are the signature STI gold rims with red 4-piston Brembo brakes, replaced by new black 19-inch wheels and bright yellow 6-piston calipers with bigger drilled rotors. Apparently, American buyers in particular had complained about the insufficient stopping power and brake fade, though all markets should benefit from the upgrades in the not-too-distant future. Some owners said their brakes would only last a couple of laps during track days, so we needed to fix that issue, said one engineer. Now the brakes will last a whole 30-minute track session and with almost no brake fade. To put the new brakes to the test, we tried both old and new on a high-speed straight that leads into a set of tight corners. As expected, the new setup allowed us to brake far later than the existing items, and without drama. The revised Brembos wipe speed off far quicker, while also letting the car stay flatter with less nosedive. And even after 2 hot laps and some heavy braking trials, the new brakes showed no fade while the 4-pots exhibited sponginess after just a handful of quick corners. Disappointingly, however, there's no extra power or torque. That means the saloon gets the same 2.0-liter turbocharged boxer engine in Japan, and an identical, larger, 2.5-liter unit here in the UK. The STI retains the current model's 6-speed manual gearbox and 4-wheel drive system. Despite the increased capacity, the 2.5 is slightly 296 bhp and 407 Nm place 300 bhp and 422 Nm, down on its Japanese equivalent. Subaru claims a 0-60 mph of 5.0 seconds flat, which is on par with the UK car's time. And as long as you keep the revs and turbo spinning above 3,500 RPMs, you can avoid the noticeable lag and access peak boost whenever necessary. One other significant upgrade to the facelift STI is in its multi-mode driver control center differential all-wheel drive system. This revised setup has been made fully electronic this time round, a modification that makes the car's reaction times quicker to driver input. It is now able to distribute torque faster too, with a 41%/59% front-rear split. It lets you turn in that little bit sharper and get back on the throttle even earlier, while also reducing sideways tire slip and improving overall grip. Minor revisions to suspension spring rates and damper settings have also helped boost handling. The ride is still hard, but the revisions have given the STI more compliance and made it easier to live with day to day. In addition to the new black rims and yellow brake calipers, Subaru has removed the bench-sized rear spoiler, relegating it to the options list. It's unclear whether this will apply to UK cars, but it's a nice deletion for those less keen on shouting about their car's boisterous character. Inside, the STI gets specially designed, body-hugging Recaro seats and a larger 8-inch sat-nav screen. Quality can match rivals from BMW or Mercedes, but it's functional enough and benefits from big, solid-feeling buttons to control the infotainment and climate control. The dials are easy to read, with a central TFT display showing everything from fuel economy to trip information.
Nissan is launching ProPilot Assist in America late this year on the 2nd generation Leaf, and they want everyone to take particular note of the second word in that brand. In January 2017, Nissan's then CEO Carlos Ghosn delivered 2 keynotes just days apart at CES and the North American International Auto Show that focused on the company's electrification and automated driving efforts. Notably, Ghosn repeatedly referred to the partially automated ProPilot system that launched in Japan last year as autonomous. Not automated, but autonomous. Here in America, the system is called ProPilot Assist because this is not an autonomous driving system, but a driver assist. While we won't get to see the new Leaf Sans camouflage until September 5th, Nissan did invite a group of media to its Farmington Hills, Michigan engineering center to sample some rogues equipped with the ProPilot Assist system. Nissan calls this a Level 2 automation system because it is capable of doing coordinated longitudinal and lateral control. That means it can handle acceleration, braking and steering. What it doesn't do is let the driver climb into the back seat to take a nap, or relax and watch a movie. ProPilot Assist builds on existing advanced driver assist systems including lane keeping assist and adaptive cruise control with enhanced software capabilities. As Andy Christensen, Senior Manager of Intelligent Transportation Research explained it, the system is designed to reduce stress and increase safety, not to replace the driver. Unlike Cadillac's Super Cruise and Audi's Traffic Jam Pilot, which are designed for hands-free use, the Nissan system explicitly requires drivers to keep at least one hand on the wheel at all times. A torque sensor in the steering wheel looks for small motions indicative of a driver holding the wheel or resistance to automatic steering motions. If the system decides that the driver doesn't have a reasonably firm grip on the wheel after 5 to 10 seconds, it gives an audible warning and flashes an alert in the instrument cluster. 5 seconds later, the alerts get progressively more insistent. 10 seconds after that, it will automatically pulse the brakes a couple of times trying to get your attention. After 25 to 30 seconds with no sign the driver is responding, ProPilot will start slowing the vehicle, and when speed drops below 40 mph, the hazard lights are turned on. Without intervention from the driver, the car will come to a complete stop in its lane. Since ProPilot doesn't yet have lane-changing capability, it was deemed safer to stop the vehicle in lane than to try to pull to the side of the road. Whether or not that's actually the best approach for such a system remains to be seen, but I didn't take the opportunity to try it out on a busy Detroit interstate. Given these limitations, what does ProPilot actually do? On the right spoke of the steering wheel, the button normally used to activate the cruise control now has a new icon, a blue car with circles radiating from it that symbolize the safety shield. Essentially, you use ProPilot exactly as you would normally use cruise control, except that the system now actively tries to keep the vehicle in the center of the lane you are in. If you try to nudge the car over to one side or the other without a turn signal on, you'll feel the system trying to steer back to the center of the lane. Like other lane-keeping systems, it's relatively easy to overpower since it is designed as an assist, not to take over from the human driver. The forward-facing radar tracks the vehicle ahead and maintains a consistent gap up to whatever speed you set. The graphics in the instrument cluster show when a vehicle is detected within range, and the lane markers go from gray to green when markings are detected consistently on both sides of the car. From a functional standpoint, the system seemed to work very well within the constraints of what it is designed to do. When lanes were detected, ProPilot did a very good job of keeping the road tracking the center without bouncing back and forth. This stretch of I-696 north of Detroit that we tested on features of a number of curves of varying radius as well as overpasses that saw us go from bright sunshine to dark shadow.